DLC.
Yeah.
But the big release of the week, which I know both you and Christian have been playing, is Tekken 8. The fighting game renaissance continues, or does it? What is your feelings, Patrick, about Tekken 8?
Oh my God, guys. I love Tekken 8 so much. Why has it taken us like an hour and a half to get to Tekken 8? I could talk about it for just as long. It is awesome. It is fantastic. It does everything well. Well, almost everything. It does many, many things well. Um, I love fighting games. I'm an arcade, a child of the arcades. I spent a lot of time both in Europe and in Japan when I lived in Japan in arcades. And Street Fighter 6 did things that were popularizing, again, a genre that was king in the arcades back then. And I thought that Tekken could not reach those heights, especially when they started talking about the game and the communication was focused on essentially what is, well, a prettier version of Tekken 7. And I thought, well, that's, I already have Tekken 7, but they did add a lot of things, and it triumphs in almost everything. um the the story mode is fantastic. It is essentially um Fast and Furious about fighting games in anime genre, in its inane script, and what happens in the game is ridiculous. Like Tekken has always been a series where the story, you look at it and you laugh because it's so dumb, as you do in Fast and Furious. They dialed that to 11 in Tekken 8. It's fantastic. It's super dumb. It's super fun. It's very accessible. It's very easy to get into. Um, then within the game, in game, the gameplay, you have two modes of control. You have classic mode, where you have to press a button and do a direction to do special moves. You have combinations and sequences that can become a little bit complicated. But then you have, what's the name of that mode? Easy mode, easy input, I can't remember, but you can activate it at any point, including in that story mode. You press a button, and then all you need to do is press the same button many times, and it will do cool combos. It's a little bit more involved than this, but essentially this is what it is. This is not like the Street Fighter 6 modern control scheme, which is supposed to be competitive. And you can choose to use the modern control scheme, which is simpler than the classic scheme, but it's competitive. It's a very seriously built design thing so that you can choose either of those modes. In Tekken, the easy mode is not that. It's just a thing for you to have fun, and it works. And you will play that story mode, and you can switch to that if you want to. It is very accessible, and you play different characters, and you get the essentially fun, I'll try it out experience. Then you get into Arcade Quest, which is really cool. You have these little me-like characters and universe, which you play one of them, you play as one of them, and they discover Tekken 8, and they get into the local arcades click, and there's this one guy that teaches you how to play the game. So they teach you very literally how to play the game with different features, different moves, different properties of the game. Very slowly, they introduce stuff. You can play the story mode and the arcade quest. Story mode is about maybe 5 hours. Arcade quest is a little bit longer, I think, but you can play those two and have a great Tekken experience without even getting into the competitive side of it. The game itself might seem like Tekken 7. It is 80%, it is 50% Tekken 7, but they added a bunch of things on top of it, which makes it so much more fun, to me at least. And I played quite a bit of Tekken 7. This one, I understand the mechanics of the game so much more, and how to play and adapt to it, and arrange my gameplay to what's happening on screen. It's incredible. 32 characters, only 3 new, but the 32, it's a huge number. Everyone is so different and complex and has their own gameplay within the game, almost everyone. um there's nothing not to love about this game, except Street Fighter does the Battle Hub mode, which is the virtual arcade. It's awesome. You go there, you see someone sitting at a machine, you sit down and you play against them. In Tekken, you have something that is taken from Arcade Quest, which is a huge arcade. And I was like, awesome, I'll go there. It will be the same thing. Except no. When you sit down at a machine at an arcade, you're just playing ranked with a random person. You're not playing the person that is sitting next to you, which is such a missed opportunity because
Mm,
then you don't create it, it's basically pointless. You don't create this
that
feeling of
rivalry.
community because in
Yeah.
yeah, in Street Fighter, you go to the battle hub and you actually play people and you're like, oh, you're just a little bit stronger than me, but I'll get you. And you play 10 games and finally you get
Right.
around. And I think I said something to that effect last time I was here. In Tekken, it doesn't work like that, and that's too bad. But it's the only thing that is not stellar about Tekken 8. I love it. I can't wait to play more of it. I don't understand why I said yes to being on this show when I could have been playing Tekken 8. So
Well, we'll try to
that's
get
my
you
take
out of
on
here as fast as we can.
it.
Christian, you have also been playing Tekken 8, and I thought I was gonna maybe sit this one out as I have with some recent fighting games, but then I saw that Prey Dog's Universal VR mod for Unreal works with Tekken 8, and you can play it in VR. So I might have to pick this one up on PC. But tell me what your experience. Do you agree with Patrick that this is stellar nearly all the way through?
Wholeheartedly. Tekken 8 is phenomenal.
Yay!
It is incredible. We are at a high water mark.
I want to go to a
fight.
high water park.
It's like a regular water park, but like it's like
Way more drownings at
yeah.
the high water park.
But if you're able to ride it out, it's great. A rising tide lifts all boats, except for the ones with leaky hulls. They sink. Tekken 8 is fantastic. I really do think that we are in a golden age of fighting games right now with, Mortal Kombat 1 has its, people have its issues with it, and I think some of those are fair. But Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, and also Mortal Kombat 1 and what we're seeing in the space right now, I think the only thing holding fighting games back from being kind of the pinnacle of video games in many regards is that they don't live in arcades the same way. So it's a different experience versus in an arcade, you kind of walk by and you see it and you're drawn to it. And there's the one person there with the bandana on who's dominating everybody. And you put your quarter up and you try. There's that communal aspect. And I think Street Fighter 6 tries to recreate some of that. But it is just different when you're at home and you don't know who's beating your butt every time you play and you just kind of think you suck. So it's
does it come with a bandana?
It does. It does come with a bandana and like sweet attitudes. So I think that's what's missing from fighting games being kind of the peak of culture in terms of conversation around games. It is different when you're by yourself. And even if you're playing in excellent ranked mode, it just feels different to lose half those matches at home versus at the arcade. And you see Susan or Gary or who, like these people you see like, oh my gosh, Gary's at the Tekken cabinet. Oh, I'm going to go watch this. And you saunter over and you watch them beat somebody down. But Tekken 8 is incredible. As you mentioned for the mod, it is Unreal. It's Unreal 5. I am playing on PC with my beefy GP. It has DLSS 2.0, not all the full 3.1 suite of technologies, but it is 2.0 enabled on PC if you have an NVIDIA card. Looks and runs great. I see a couple of hitches here and there, but usually it's on the character select screen and then sometimes on character intro animations. I would imagine that's something about the engine transitioning between real time into an animated cutscene or something like that. I've also played it on my Steam Deck. It works great. It works fine, I should say. Like between the two, console's better, but I've played many a match against the CPU on my Steam Deck, and you're able to dial down the settings and have it be a workable experience. But as Patrick mentioned, the story mode. So I probably played 7 hours of Tekken 8. We're recording a smidge earlier than we normally do, so it probably would have been 10 hours or longer if we were recording at night. The story.
Okay,
You're also
everybody
wishing
doesn't
you
want
were
to be
playing.
doing this and wants to be playing Tekken 8. I get it.
Yes,
I get it.
We sacrificed our joy for yours, Jeff, so you can hate watch a football game unless they win. Then that time was worth it. Otherwise, you spent 3 hours tense, like, oh, this is fun. This is fun. The story is phenomenal. I have played a lot of Tekken over the years, but not all Tekken. I think the Tekken I've probably played the most is Tekken Advanced, oddly enough, on the GBA. Because I was traveling a lot when it came out, and it's a good Tekken. But I played Tekken Tag, I played the Tekkens. Tekken 8 has a mode where you can go through and kind of get caught up on the story. Fine, maybe do that, but also maybe don't, because it's just so bombastic and so
how
silly.
will I know what the Tiger Man and the Bear Man think about?
Because they tell you. They give you like one line, they're like, you can't go against them. Why? Because they're this. And you're like, yeah, that's all I need. Let them fight. Let them do
the Tiger Man is a Tiger Man. The Bear Man is just a bear.
Just a bear.
Not a bear man. It's actually a bear.
Now I'm lost.
It gets confusing. You should probably go back and watch the story lead up. But it is just so silly in the best ways. It feels very Final Fantasy 16 in ways where it is just so ridiculous, but taken seriously. Like they don't wink at the camera other than the fact that you're playing as a panda bear or something like that, but like just bombastic in that the costumes that Tekken's always had great character outfits, and the way they look in 8 story mode, it's never been sillier, but also better. Cause it's like when you see, there's a reason why the first X-Men movie put everybody in black leather, right? Like, yes, it would have been cool to see them in their iconic costumes, but also when you see people in their iconic costumes in real life together next to each other, you're like, this is weird. like you're walking down the street and your shoulders are 30 feet wide, like next to a normal person. You're like, this is normal. This is how I act. There's all of that stuff in it. It's beautiful. It's dumb. But it also does a good job of rotating you through characters, giving a lot of series regulars their moment to shine in really cool ways, introduces the new characters and fun story moments. And then Arcade Quest, I think folks will probably do that second, because oftentimes people get excited about the story mode. But Arcade Quest is where I would recommend folks start if they are new to Tekken or it's been a while, because it does, as Patrick mentioned, a great job teaching you Tekken. And what I find so refreshing about coming back to Tekken, I did not play 7. I think I maybe played a little bit of 6. I forget. It was on PS4. Maybe that was 6. I don't remember. But Tekken is not a fireball, big special move, quote unquote, fighting game the way Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter are. The buttons are, for most characters, there's always an exception, but left punch, left kick, right kick. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And you use them, you can think about Assassin's Creed with the way you used to climb, like actually doing your hands as you're moving up. And so left punch is the left hook that you throw, and then right is right, and so on and so forth. And so it's a closer combat fighting game than something like Street Fighter, where you can control space by using your projectile. And so much of Tekken for years in the competitive scene, it's a very defensive game, because when you close space, you're looking for that frame gap where you can punish somebody, where you're able to block their move. It's a 3D game, so you can shuffle around people, but you're able to block their move and their frame is open for you to go in to punish them with your own combo. And so a lot of times in the competitive space, there's, juking, starting a move, trying to cancel out of it. How can you start something that looks like a different move? Characters have like 100 different moves. I'm never going to learn them all, but like looks like a move with a longer frame animation that's actually shorter, so you can lure somebody in. And so you get these very heated defensive battles. And it seems like Tekken 8's approach has been, how do we make Tekken more offensive minded with the changes they've made? And so at the very basic core, they've buffed sidestepping, where you could always sidestep, but so many moves would punish you for that, whether it was a actual 3-dimensional blow or not, or a sweep that would still hit your hitbox in that moment to break your shuffle. Sidestepping is more effective now, and they've added a heat mode, which you start with full at the beginning of each round. Every round, your heat gauge is full, so it's not like in Street Fighter where you have to build up your turbo. Your heat gauge is full and ready to go, and if you don't use it, you lose it for that round. Like, you should use it every single round, because next round it will be back. And the heat mode makes you more viable to be aggressive. It adds a a few things, but basically more to your combo, and it gives you a really cool punishing special move that can break through some other attacks. And so it allows you to go in and be more aggressive in a way that
And
Tekken
chip damage.
hasn't had before. Yes, and then chip damage. You as you block and take hits, you see your health gauge go down, but it's not eliminated. You're able to earn that health back if you land blows on your opponent. So you
So
take
incentivizing offense.
it incentivizes offense, but it's still you're still very open. It's not like one hit gives you that health back. It's you got to then chip your way back to fill it up, and if you mess up, you're going to get punished and you lose all of that. And the last thing that makes it more offensive is the rage state is what they call it. And so when you're down to what is it, Patrick, like a quarter of your life left, a third of your
Yeah, a
life,
fifth, something like that.
you go into this rage state and you can see it on your health bar, and it opens up a new special move. I think just one per
Yeah,
character.
it's basically a super
Yeah.
one per character where you get very angry.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's flashy looking. It can break through some other offensive attacks back to you. And it also, oh gosh, there's one other thing that Rage does, but it's just jumping out of my head. But again, they're all an effort of making it more offensive, which I think is fascinating. And I'm very curious. I won't be part of it because I won't be that competitive, but I'm very curious to see how the competitive scene does react to it long term, and whether or not it really has people flying off, running in and engaging with people. And then from the new characters, again, there's only 3, but I love Victor. He's the Frenchman, and he's so cool. He's like this old Silver Fox spy tech dude who has like little knives and then also this huge gun that he never uses. But he's got this huge gun and then little knives.
I'm a fighter.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome.
You're talking about the French guy. There, it's funny. Law, which is one of the old school characters, in his intro, he looks at the camera and he's the Bruce Lee lookalike. And he looks at the camera and he's like, "I hate rich people." So it makes me think of the French. But Reina, the other new character, is super awesome. Azucena, the Peruvian, which does. I want to learn. When you dive into one of the characters, it's like learning a whole game. So I recommend you stick with one. Just take one that you think looks cool. But Azucena has a whole bunch of not escapes, but she dodges all your all the enemy's strikes, and she's making fun of you, and she's like, "Ha ha!"
It seems like a lot of misdirects too, where it's like a fake into one, and then she comes the other way, and
this game looks so badass. Forget about everything we just said, which is true, but forget about all of it. If you want to play a fighting game and have immediate fun and look like you're doing super cool fighting moves, pick up Tekken 8. It is exactly that. You will feel like a badass from the get-go. Don't go fight people, in ranked mode, because especially at the beginning, all the pros are ranking up. You get destroyed every other game. It will settle down. But no, just press every button. It will look cool. It's awesome.
And you can play it in VR.
Well, I mean, Tekken 7 could be played in VR. Not a lot of people did. So
I take solace in knowing that I helped the best players in the world achieve their rank as they beat them.
I just want to be helpful.
That is our contribution.
It's a fighting game. No, it's a helping game. That's Tekken 8. Sounds like it is continuing this new golden age of fighting games that we seem to find ourselves in.
Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8. It is incredible that we saw those come back and be as good as they are. They're 90 on Metacritic games, 92, 90. Yeah. There are such. I thought we would never see that time again. And of course, not everyone is going to go play fighting games, but some people will. And the people who do are so happy with the state of their favorite niche genre right now.
And they're stupid in the best way. And I say that with love. Yes. Mortal Kombat included. Mortal Kombat's been stupid in the best way for longer. But Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 are so stupid, and they wear their stupid on their sleeve, and it's better because of it.
You have always told me that was a compliment as well, and I don't know.
Jeff, I mean this in the best way. You're fired.
I say that with love. But you said it was the best way. Christian, you have also been playing more Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, which we raved about last week.
I will be brief. I rolled credits on Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. It took me just under 20 hours. My completion percentage was shown at low 70s, 70%, which I was kind of surprised by because I felt like I was doing a lot of side stuff in it as I was enjoying that world and that game. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is phenomenal. It is certainly one of my favorite games I've played in recent memory. I'm saying it again this week to tell you to go pick it up because it's really good. Some of those fights at the end get hard, though, like hard. But it's incredible. I rolled credits. I'm super happy I did. It's great.
You know, you were talking about too many games earlier. I really want to play Prince of Persia. It looks awesome. I played the demo. I loved it. Maybe it's also because I have two small kids, but I don't have time. It's not enough to be a very good game these days.
Yeah.
You have to be a fantastic game and appeal to the person that might play. Like,
Yeah.
it's I want to play. Yes.
We need to get another one, though. I think we need a new one that says, too many kids.
No, look, I refuse to let that be excuse. I'm pretty sure my children ate this morning, and I've played plenty of Tekken. Like, I don't understand.
I don't know where they went, but they seemed happy when they left.
My daughter has a jaguar head for a head, but I think it's because she also likes Tekken. So what are you going to do? You can get the full audio version of this show by subscribing to the RSS feed, which you can find at dlcpod.com. And you can support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/dlcpod, where you will get ad-free versions of the show, video versions of the show on demand, and a whole bunch of extra content, like Wednesday's show, paid DLC, including spoiler chats, so much more. That's patreon.com/dlcpod.